The sun is starting to warm up Baltimore, Maryland, shining down on Homewood Field for a showdown that features two dynamite sophomore scorers. Zach Palmer's made himself right at home. The Canadian import paces the Johns Hopkins attack, tangling with a Tiger named Jeff Recaro. The best of Princeton's midfield bunch. Next. It's turning into a pretty day for Old Spice College Lacrosse. Just right for a top 10 matchup. Today, the 10th-ranked Tigers of Princeton have traveled south to Baltimore to continue a history-rich tradition of meeting the 8th-ranked Johns Hopkins Blue Jays, who are off to a 3-0 start. It's great to have you along for the ride. Here with Jamie Monroe, I'm Joe Beninati. These two lacrosse programs are synonymous with success. Jamie, what does today's matchup mean to them?
Well, for both teams, this is a huge game. You've got the Princeton Tigers. They're 0-1. They need this game. They're banged up. It's going to really be a determining factor on how their season goes. And for the Blue Jays, they're 3-0, but they're yet untested as a young team.
In all likelihood, the Tigers are going to be without their top goal scorer today. Jack McBride's dealing with a groin injury.
Yeah, it's a tough loss for Princeton. He's a do-it-all, dodging, scoring, and a leader on that team. Of course, they're going to have the cousin Chris McBride in the mix.
It means that the Tigers will lean heavily upon their top-notch defense and outstanding goaltender.
Tyler Fiorito, a second-team All-American from last year, is going to have a huge game. He's a leader. He's a great ball stopper. It's going to be fun to watch him today. Chad Wiedemeyer is a great all-around defensive player. Athletically, he's gifted. He gets up the field. He plays great team defense.
On the Johns Hopkins side of the equation, the Blue Jays have been generating plenty of offense, and it's two young midfielders that lead the way.
Well, when you look at the Hopkins team traditionally, they are going to be a midfield-oriented team. When you look at John Rannigan, he is a downhill running, big, strong athlete who can shoot it on the run. And as for his partner, John Greeley, is very similar to Rannigan. He can really run by you, but he's also a great feeder. So watch him to not only create offense off with his own shot, but to get some great feeds through the defense down to the attack.
There are plenty of headliners on both sides, but we expect these men to be the impact players brought to you by Warrior Lacrosse.
My pick for Princeton is going to be Jeff Recaro. He needs to play big today in the absence of McBride. And as for the Hopkins Blue Jays, you're going to see Matt Delente have a huge impact on this game. Delente has the opportunity to try to build on the success of last week, but also Hofstra dominated Princeton last week. So it's going to be a great matchup.
Here at Homewood Field in Baltimore, Maryland. Historic venue for college lacrosse. Dave Petramala played defense for the Blue Jays and did so very well. He's their bench boss for a long time.
Number 43, one of the greatest players of all time.
Chris Bates in his second season, pushing the buttons in Princeton, New Jersey. Tigers coming in with a mark of 0-1, upended by Hofstra a week ago. Jamie Lincoln had 4 for the Pride. Wing play will be very important to those two guys at the face-off X. On the season, the Blue Jays are right around 58%. And last week, Princeton had a whole heck of a lot of trouble with John Antonides of Hofstra, who beat him 16 of 22. Opening draw between Delente and Fracaro. Blue Jays here at home in the white, looking for the first possession. It's off the cross of Wharton, and out of bounds. It belongs to Princeton.
Princeton almost had that face-off right out of the gate. Lost the face-off, but got a little lucky as the ball bounced out of bounds their way.
Dave Petramala, kind enough to play host to us yesterday at practice, and seemed like he was in a very good place with where his team was as they were getting ready for business this afternoon.
Yeah, no question. Petro, known for his competitiveness and his intensity, was actually putting things into perspective. He knows they're young, and he knows that this game, while huge in many ways, it's not going to be the whole season, so he just wants his kids to just play.
20-year-old sophomore Fracaro slings it on the wing for Chris McBride, who did not play last week. He was missing after a concussion injury has given him some problems. Well enough to go today. Cousin Jack was taking the warm-up, but not expected to start, and has not. Money on the kick. Work it quickly. Chris McBride on the sweep. Over the top, Money fires and scores. Tyler Money gets things off to a flying start.
Very interesting to watch Princeton in their first offensive possession. They came out in a more traditional wing dodging set. Then they kicked the ball through X, and then their two-man game happened on the backside, in which they were able to recreate what they've been doing in a more traditional style.
Tyler Money, who they would like to quarterback their offense from the top, the senior, who hails from Princeton, gets his 11th career marker. And first on the day, it comes quickly to start the scoring inside the opening minute. Chris Bates says of Money, he's a scat back. He didn't have to put on very many moves there. It was a quick release that beat Pierce Bassett.
It was just beautiful offense, the way that they basically initiated on one side of the field, swung it to the other with a two-man game, and then got it back to the original side. That's tough for any defense to have 3 rounds of slides, and that's what made it hard for Hopkins on that.
Recaro and Delente looking for possession. His bodies fly, no loose ball push. Officials today, Hans Wittelsberger, Tommy Brannick, and Michael Hyland. Rob Costello for the Tigers will bring it across, visiting Princeton in the orange. 6 times NCAA champs, the last in 2001.
Let's see if Princeton ends up slowing this ball down. Last year they had 5 or 6 stalling warnings against the Blue Jays. Their pairs offense is a kind of wear you out type of an offense. So let's see how that goes here today. Last time they scored pretty quick.
Not easy for a defense to get on the same page. This is the youngster Schreiber, Tom Schreiber, the freshman who scored a couple of goals in the first 5 minutes last week. The Tigers were off to a quick start in an eventual loss to Hofstra. Sonnenfeld behind the goal, marked there by Leitner. Forrest Sonnenfeld, 6'6", towing the scales around 250. Fracaro wants the alley. Ben Smith would not allow it. Money, nice moves on Donovan, fires, and Bassett makes that save. Looking quickly for the outlet.
He is a scat back. He is so quick and shifty. He's good. They're going to have to get to him a little bit earlier. That could have been another goal easily.
First full possession now for Johns Hopkins, a team that's been marksman-like accurate early in games. As you can tell, their first 3 outings this year, they've clicked on the first shot of the game. And in the last 2 installments, it's been the freshman midfielder Rob Guida to convert.
Hopkins has got a little bit of a different look this year, Joe. They are pushing the ball in transition to a degree that you usually haven't seen Hopkins team pushing. Watch for these guys. Their poles are getting shots, and they're dodging in transition. Normally, they're pulling it out.
Coaching staff would love them to get more goals in scrambled, unsettled situations. This is Guida working it on the outside. It's an extremely young Johns Hopkins team. So much production from their freshman and sophomore class. Ranigan backing out, working on the isolation. The dodge against Connor Riley. Palmer is the Blue Jays' leading scorer. Chad Wiedmeyer, the All-American, collects him. Swing it for Ranigan. He and Greeley so aware of each other this year compared to last when they were freshmen in Dave Petramala's squad. Bolin on a sneak. Fiorito crosses over to make that save. Connor Riley comes up with the ground ball. Ridden hard there by Wharton. 1-0 for Princeton if you're just tuning in. Tyler Money on the board in the game's first minute.
Princeton had a big stop. Hopkins was sort of feeling out the Princeton defense. And they finally got a great opportunity, scoring opportunity.
Flag down, Jamie. First extra man to come. The Tigers a year ago when this game was played at M&T Bank did not have an extra man opportunity. The Blue Jays weren't shorthanded once all day. They will be soon enough.
Last week, Princeton struggled on their man up, turned it over a couple of times in the Hofstra game, which really kind of cost them some momentum. Meanwhile, their own man down gave up 4 goals.
Luke Armour on the ball here for Princeton. No relation to Johns Hopkins defender Tobias. To the inside, it gets away. Sonnenfeld fires and scores! Forrest Sonnenfeld.
When you're a defensive coordinator, you slide, they jam it into the crease, and it trickles through to a wide-open shooter, like just happened right there. That is awfully frustrating for Hopkins.
Armour with Ranigan digging in defensively. That was looking for a quick stick inside. It worked out just fine for the high heat from Sonnenfeld.
That's good defense. There's not much Hopkins can do about that. They made the play they're supposed to make. Had Princeton really tried to thread it through there, they probably wouldn't have gotten it through.
Big
so that
fellas
was good.
in better shape this year, Jamie. He's better conditioned. Bagged a hat trick last week in that loss to Hofstra. Tigers with back-to-back tallies to start things as we're nearly 5 minutes old. Round and round, Fracaro goes with Delente and he wins the draw. Jeff Fracaro, Sonnenfeld. Good job by the Blue Jays to get back in the hole defensively. It's 6-on-6.
When you've got a player of Fracaro's abilities offensively also winning face-offs, it's going to be a double impact if they keep winning them, because not only is he getting the possession, but he's going to have an opportunity to really create some offense out of that.
Apologies, I called 6-on-6. The Blue Jays are a man down. The Sonnenfeld goal following the flag. Extra man opportunity for Princeton. Schreiber over the top, and he scores. Tom Schreiber makes it 3 straight.
That was a classic sort of 2-4 look with 2 guys behind, and they reversed the ball, and they caused Hopkins to really cover up inside. Their step-down wing shooter had the time and room. It's going to be hard for a goalie to make that save.
Schreiber, the freshman, very highly regarded with a bullet past Pierce Bassett. It makes it 3-0 for Princeton. We'll get you back to Homewood Field in just a few moments. For more Old Spice College lacrosse, we'll look back to last year's matchup between these two rivals, a thriller in downtown Baltimore. Old Spice College lacrosse is brought to you by Old Spice Matterhorn. Become one of the freshest smelling places on earth. And in part by Sector Spider ETFs. Visit them on the web at sectorspiders.com.
Lax World, your destination for STX lacrosse gear used by the top teams in college lacrosse.
Lax World offers the best selection on the newest men's equipment, like the new STX Assault padding line, the new Surgeon head, and the new Force handle. Now offering the best selection of STX women's gear, like the new Crux and Crux 10, and the new women's Ultra Goalie Glove and Chest Protector.
Come check out our newest stores in York, PA and Columbia, Maryland. STX and Lax World. Never stop.
Seasons may change, but my game will stay the same. Introducing the Surgeon STX, featuring all climate performance technology.
Young gun Tom Schreiber, the last man on the board for Princeton. 3-0 for the Tigers, who haven't been to Homewood since 2006. The reason is they played at Johns Hopkins University at M&T Bank, close by in downtown Baltimore. Last year's game, Jamie, was a thriller.
Well, Princeton won it in OT, and they really kind of surprised the Blue Jays with their pairs offense that was sort of their unveiling of that offense last year.
Michael Kimmel tying it late, McKenzie winning it for the Tigers, and you can see this is the 81st meeting between these two. The first one goes back to 1890.
Yeah, that was, there's quite a history. 1890, Joe, that is, what is that, 120 years ago, 121 years ago?
I was knee-high to a grasshopper back then. Saw it all. Really enjoyed the game.
Very important face-off just won by the Hopkins Blue Jays.
Ranigan looking for Wharton. That clicks away. Cunningham trying for the ground ball, and he does collect. John Cunningham, the 21-year-old junior, a captain for these Tigers, calls his own number. Bassett makes the save. Cunningham, 5 goals last year as a long stick midfielder, the most ever recorded by a Princeton defender in one campaign. Boland is the quarterback for Johns Hopkins. Long Ellis has him. Subs coming on for the Blue Jays.
I think Chris Bates would have preferred Wiedemeyer not shoot right there. With Hopkins winning their first face-off and pushing it, as we referred to before, and turning it over, they could have had that ball.
This behind-the-cage perspective gives you an idea of how Princeton lines up defensively against the Blue Jays. You can hear Tyler Fiorito barking the traffic instructions in the background. Boland for Rule. Rolling back, and Fiorito makes that look routine. Eric Rule, the first freshman midfielder under Dave Petramalo to score goals in each of his first 3 games. Beaten there by Fiorito, an outstanding stopper in the cage and a leader for these Tigers. You have 30 seconds now this season to get it into the box.
Yeah, a new rule change makes it a lot easier for, I think, the refs, the fans, and it hasn't seemed to make a difference at all in how the game is being played.
On the outside, Cliff Larkin, 19 in the orange for the Tigers. Princeton stringing 3 goals together. Moni, Sonnenfeld, and Schreiber in quick order, putting the Blue Jays on home turf back on their heels. Statistical categories showing you different numbers as we get going, and throughout the day you'll see those periodically. Jeff Fricaro does most of his damage in the second half, switching it up on the outside with Schreiber.
Joe, we've got the pairs look getting set up here right now.
Lots of picks, screens. Here's one. Moni works off. Donovan right there defensively, the short stick D-mid. Over the top, the jump shot. Bassett makes that save on Chris McBride. They scramble for the loose ball. Fricaro is trying to goose it out. Tigers still claim it. McBride doing the honors. Unsettled here for Schreiber.
That was the key save for Bassett. That was pretty good offense. The ball carrier actually dodged off of 3 different picks on the ball. And that's tough to switch, especially when they're trying to decide whether you're switching or not switching. It's tough to play. Bassett comes up with a big save low.
Sophomore Bassett had a dozen stops last week against Siena, up to 3 this afternoon. Fights that one off as well. High in the air, good roll dodge by Larkin. Right into the teeth of a double team.
I really like the first offensive look they were in with that wing dodge. I mean, that created more offense for them than just about anything.
They'll come back to it. Fricaro on the outside. Schreiber is next. Big lacrosse pedigree when it comes to the Schreiber family. Schreiber played his first ever road game last week about 4 miles from where he grew up on Long Island and against Hofstra. Moni off the invert. Bassett makes that stop as it squirms towards the goal line. He collects. And Donovan will run. Hopkins looking to get on the board here at Homewood Field. Donovan fires wide of Fiorito. Tim Donovan, who was converted to a short stick D midfielder in the past, taking one for the team, swallowing a little bit of his offensive pride.
Well, right there you see Hopkins dodging in transition again. So far they've come down the last 2 times down. They've attacked in transition, and you know what? It's going to score goals for him, but you're going to live and die by that. There's going to be some times where a goalie makes a save or they turn it over. But I like it. I like when teams push in transition. That's sometimes your easiest chance to dodge.
Palmer working back behind the cage with Wharton, who has an outstanding shot from the perimeter. Boland took a whack. He's chopped down. It's going to be an extra man. The penalty is going to come against Long Ellis. Blue Jays will soon go man up. Chris Boland gets a pick screen from Guida, then makes the handoff. Rob Guida, a two-way midfielder in Dave Petramala's words. Looking to get topside, swing it for Ranigan. Ranigan's pass, too hot to handle for Boland. Extra man for Johns Hopkins.
Well, you've got Boland, an old veteran, able to draw a foul and definitely like make it look worse than it probably was.
Folks, ESPN News coverage of college lacrosse continues next Saturday, first at 11 a.m. Fresh off their huge win last night over Virginia, Syracuse faces Big East rival Georgetown. Then at 1:30, it's Cornell and Virginia. It's the Conica Minolta Face-Off Classic on ESPNU next Saturday. Those two teams beating an M&T Bank, part of a triple header that day at that stadium. Cornell and Virginia. UVA traveled to Ithaca for the first time since '74 last year. Hounded the Big Red by a 12-4 margin. Here it's 3-0 for Princeton. Blue Jays working extra man. Nice face dodge. Fiorito with a kick save on Wharton. Ground ball for Wiedmeyer. Fast break time, Cunningham. It's 4-on-3. Too high, and whoa! Leitner just lit up the freshman, Nick Fernandez.
That was high, Joe. That was really high. That's like concussion time when you catch a cross check to the head like that.
Nick Fernandez, who's been battling back from an ankle sprain as head coach Bates looks on. Chris Leitner got him right on the train tracks and buried him. Fernandez, who did not play last week in that loss at Hofstra. He likes boxing workouts at the Trinity Boxing Club in New York City. He feels like he just went 15 rounds right there. Fernandez still feeling the after effects.
I thought that was a high hit. I was trying to sit here, wait to see what the call here was. I really thought that was going to end up having been a high hit, not just a turnover. Well, a big break for Hopkins because they basically had unbelievable. Did you see the face dodge from Kyle Wharton? That got himself right through. It was like a Canadian underhand face dodge. He dodged the bullet though. Transition.
Hopkins with the ball, no penalty on that play as Greeley is denied by Fiorito, who right now is laser locked on that ball.
No, he is, but I'll tell you, a couple of those shots have been soft. Both that last shot right there as well as the shot from Rule. Those are easy. You got to shoot it a little harder than that in a little bit of a different location. I mean, the high-to-high slow shot of your stick is going to be... When Jesse Schwartzman gets into the box in a little while, we'll be able to talk a little bit about that.
Looking forward to working with Jesse Schwartzman. He'll be joining us in the second quarter today here at a field with which he is very familiar. Homewood Field in Baltimore. The Blue Jays taking an early right cross from Princeton. A 3-0 advantage for the Tigers. With 2:50 to go in the opening quarter. Forrest Sonnenfeld. Big bear of a man, not afraid to use his size. Swims over the head of Leitner. Sonnenfeld on the roll. Nothing there.
He's got to be able to draw a slide on that, Joe. When he's coming in, if he would have just kept bearing in, Hopkins would have had to slide, and that's going to create offense.
Mike Grossman, number 8 in the orange for Princeton, working on the sweep. Spins back against Castronova. Phil Castronova has earned rave reviews from the coaching staff in the first few weeks. Chris McBride says slow it down as he works on the interchange with Cliff Larkin. Time ticking away in the opening quarter. Larkin's feed. Stick check there by Durkin. Grossman looks to scoop. Out of the pack, tiptoeing away, it's Larkin. He was stripped. Frantic battle for the ball, right at midfield. Earned by Long Ellis to the Tigers. Takes it on the way, has his shot blocked. Another big hit.
I would have thought Coach Bates was going to call a timeout there and just settle things down. Last week, Princeton jumped on Hofstra and felt like they had all the momentum, and then all of a sudden a couple of dumb penalties, a couple of bad turnovers, they let Hofstra right back into the game, and I'd be afraid of that right now because I feel like they had the momentum, but they're starting to give it away a little bit.
And Jamie, they couldn't kill any man-up situations last week. Hofstra burned them 4 for 4 in the first 30 minutes. Princeton has a 3-0 advantage today. Palmer has the ball for the Blue Jays in white.
I think it's tough though when you're starting to roll and you want to roll, Joe. It's hard to get those horses to slow down a lot. You know, they want to make plays.
Brannigan has some running room, fires one wide.
They need that one right there. That's got to be a goal for the Hopkins Blue Jays. They can't miss that one. That was a great dodge, a beautiful play executed.
Greeley with Rannigan. John Rannigan gets a step on Riley. Returns it to Greeley. Good trail check there. Long Ellis has been making his presence felt in this opening quarter. Another ground ball. Scoops it on ahead. Smythe in transition, 4-on-3. Sonnenfeld to the interior. Bounces it wide.
Pretty good team defense at the other end by Princeton. Hopkins dodged the middle, threw back to Greeley, and there was a second slide on him so quick.
Got that quick look at Pierce Bassett in goal for Johns Hopkins, much more focal in his coordination of the defense. Schreiber on the split dodge. Bassett eats that one up. Time's wasted now. 5 seconds left in the frame. A long lead. Wharton slings it at the cage. Fiorito has no troubles with that. We are 15 minutes down in Baltimore at Homewood Field. Dave Petramala's Blue Jays entertaining the Tigers. Princeton so far being rude to the hosts. It's 3-0.
Seasons may change, but my game will stay the same. Introducing the Surgeon STX, featuring all climate performance technology.
When I first came to Kansas, me and my brother, the first two to ever go to college in my family. Basketball took me this far, and just coming to school and being able to make my mom proud by being able to get a degree. I just want my legacy to be that every game I came out and competed.
Winter snow and ice got you stuck? Now you can eliminate ice patch frustration, backbreaking dig-outs, and avoid hundreds of dollars in towing fees. Introducing Tread Ahead. Tread Ahead will prevent your car from ever getting stuck in ice and snow again. Guaranteed. If your car, SUV, or truck ever gets stuck, just take Tread Ahead and simply slip its patented rugged tire tracks under the wheel of your car. In just 5 seconds, your car has the traction it needs to escape that icy patch. The secret is Tread Ahead's patented dual grip design that digs into the ice on one side and gives your tire the traction it needs on the other. Tread Ahead works with all cars, SUVs, and trucks. Get your Tread Ahead now for only $19.95. Call or log on right now and get a second one for just half price. Don't risk ever getting stuck in the snow or mud again. Tread Ahead guarantees to get you out first time, every time. It's a true lifesaver. Get Tread Ahead today. Call now.
Fans here at Homewood Field are having a great time. They haven't had much to cheer about if they're rooting for the Blue Jays. It's Princeton 3-0 after 1 quarter of play. We are in the presence of goaltending royalty today. Former Johns Hopkins All-American and national champion Jesse Schwartzman. 2 times the NCAA tournament's most outstanding player. And back in 2007, it was Schwartzman and the Blue Jays who downed Duke to win Johns Hopkins' most recent NCAA championship. Jesse Schwartzman joins us this afternoon for Old Spice College Lacrosse, and we are glad to welcome you aboard, big fella. What'd you think of that first 15 minutes?
Thanks for having me. Exciting first 15. I think Princeton got off to a quick start, and then both teams kind of settled in. Both goalies are actually getting hot now. Tyler for Princeton is he's definitely dialed in, and I think Hopkins just has to settle the ball on offense and work for better shots.
Jamie, is this one playing according to script for you?
Well, I think both teams are generating opportunities, but I just think that for the most part, they'd probably like a few of those opportunities back. Hopkins probably should have a couple of goals so far. Princeton's looked sharp, especially at the faceoff X.
Looking for control to start this second quarter. They battle to the sideline. Officials saying it will be Blue Jay ball. Just tuning in with us, goals from Tyler Money, Forrest Sonnenfeld, and Tom Schreiber in support of the net-minding efforts of that man, Tyler Fiorito. His head coach, Chris Bates, calling him a luxury earlier this week. And Jesse, this is a young man with whom you are very familiar. You worked with him in high school.
Yeah, I worked with Tyler his senior year at the Madonna School in Baltimore, and he's a tremendous talent and even a better leader. And I know Coach Greg Raymond and Coach Bates are pleased to have him between the pipes.
I can tell you one thing, you didn't mess him up. You did real well. Wharton on the outside, working against Costello. Into the starting role at close defense, Rob Costello bearing down on Wharton, who sends it high and way wide. Folks, ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse, it continues next Saturday. 11 a.m. Eastern, fresh off a huge win last night against Virginia. Syracuse squares off with Georgetown. Then at 1:30, it's Cornell and Virginia. It's all part of the Konica Minolta Face-Off Classic on ESPNU next Saturday from M&T Bank. That tournament, guys, has provided a lot of great theater in recent years. Guida off the invert, sends it off the outside of the cage. It'll stay Johns Hopkins ball.
Yeah, I think Hopkins has to work better for better angle shots here. They keep settling for the low angle, and it's giving Tyler a better chance to stop the ball.
They were creating some pretty good offense out of this look right here. When they get Rannigan dodging, he has the ability to go down the alley or come across the middle. Watch him look back for Greeley.
Brannigan covered up by Connor Riley. These Blue Jays averaging 14.7 goals per game in their first three. Greeley skips to the alley. Palmer, marked by Wiedmeyer. Brannigan off the swim. Guida set the screen. Johns Hopkins with wins over Towson, Delaware, and Siena to get the campaign going. They are ranked 8th in the land.
Yeah, like Jamie said earlier, this is their first test, and so far with 0 goals, they just have to keep working and stay patient on offense.
Guida looking to do just that. Wants a shooting lane. None provided there. Good short stick D by Peter Smythe.
Wants his left hand, too, and he wasn't getting that either, was he?
Officials telling the Blue Jays they have to stay in the box. Palmer working in concert with Bolin. Bolin, a senior, 23-year-old. He's the oldest guy on the team, but he still has a year of eligibility left. He'll be back next year. Kyle Wharton's the only guy from the starting 10 who will not return. Inside, Fiorito with the stuff on Bolin.
Tremendous save right there by Tyler. He stayed locked in on the shooter, kept his head up, and kept his stick locked on Chris's stick. And what a save there for Princeton.
That was big time. And I'll tell you right now, Princeton, if they want to not have a repeat performance of giving away momentum from last year, they're going to have to take care of this ball. They're going to, I hate to say it, self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, they just got to take care of the ball and generate some more offense. They look so sharp early, but they've been a little quiet. It's only a matter of time before Hopkins is going to put one in.
Jamie, you know full well coaches despise turnovers like that. Blue Jays get the ball back. It's Mark Goodrich, who's been held out in the last couple of games. Tiger down in a heap. Defensively there, Costello rolled up as it's closed in for the goal. Blue Jays get themselves on the board. Wharton from the severe angle. While Costello was down in a heap.
I wonder what Costello did. It looked like it might have been an ankle.
Kyle Wharton, who picked up 3 assists last week. Game number 51 for him on his career ledger. You can see he's one of their captains, wearing that C on his jersey.
Yeah, they're looking at his knee right now, aren't they, Joe?
Rob Costello, the 20-year-old sophomore. Chris Bates says of this man, he gives their defense a jolt. Ow. Costello not able to put any weight on that left leg, being assisted to the sidelines.
Everything started the way Princeton would want it to start. Winning faceoffs, being efficient in their offense. In the last 10, 12 minutes, they've turned it over. They're giving Hopkins opportunities. They're hanging in there, but man, they got to get some offense. They think, Justin.
Back to the faceoff X we go. After the Blue Jays trim the Tigers' lead to 2. Possession for the Tigers. Myers was stripped. Ben Smith in hot pursuit. Myers lost the handle, so too did Wharton, but Fiorito says, I'll help. 30 seconds now for the Princeton Tigers to get into the box. Long Ellis plays this pass on the ground to himself. Delente put a hit right into his chest as these two teams are getting more and more physical. Look out! Sonnenfeld just destroyed Delente. Money comes up with the ground ball. Princeton possession.
What a scrum there off that was still off that face-off following that Wharton goal, and teams are playing extremely hard. Just how important this game means to both of them.
Fellas, how much communication goes on in a situation like that? It looks so frantic from where we're seeing it.
Well, there's definitely going to be guys talking to each other, but it's so fast. It's just all natural, sort of. I don't. It's so natural that you're just saying, here, kick, goose it here, pick it up, stuff like that.
It gets to be pretty nerve-wracking, and then when you've got a guy who's 250 out there, it can be painful. Schreiber on a flash here, working against his opposite 22, Castronova. Fraccaro's drive, knocked down there by Leitner. Bassett, wow, look out. Strong ride put to him by Luke Armour. Bassett finds a safety valve, and it's a big man named Jack Riley. Delente has the ball. Hopkins trying to put goals back to back. Wharton has their first, and it came here in the second quarter. Along with Jesse Schwartzman and Jamie Monroe, I'm Joe Beninati, so glad you've tuned in. This is Old Spice College Lacrosse. First time in a while that the Tigers have made the trip south to Baltimore to play Johns Hopkins here at Homewood. Class of 2010 for the Tigers, never played a game in this facility.
Pretty unique midfield here for Hopkins with two kids from Ohio and number 16 Lee Coppersmith from the South Florida area. Just very non-traditional lacrosse areas.
The game is growing by leaps and bounds.
Well, particularly in the midfield, you just want horses, you want athletes, and you know what? You got athletes everywhere in this country.
Coppersmith loves that split dodge. Yields it to Wharton. Ellis went for the trail check. Wharton keeps it alive. What a nice feed inside, and it's just bounced away by Boland. Fiorito in trouble. Stripped by Palmer as he gets back into the crease. Zach Palmer cleverly to the crease. Floats the pass to the inside, and it gets away from Marshall Burkhart.
Tell you what, guys, we got some exciting action here with some backhand passes, some heavy hitting.
That backhand pass from Palmer was brilliant. That should have been a goal.
Just about every sequence featuring a highlight hit like that. And another flag hits the turf. The Blue Jays bench terribly upset with that.
Princeton needs this big time. Last week, Coach Page was talking about how they turned it over twice on man up. Really let Hofstra back into the game. So let's see if they can convert here. Hey, they struggled on man up last year too.
The intimidating head coach of the Blue Jays speaking his point.
Zach Palmer was just taking a beating here. It was clean, but he was just dealing with the pressure. Watch this backhand pass right there. Burkhart was not ready for that. I mean, it was phenomenal. Right by his stick.
That was brilliant.
A week ago, Princeton 2 for 4 on the extra man. Sonnenfeld has a rocket from the outside. Got to keep your eyes peeled for number 2 in the orange. Schreiber's good vision straight away. That's where they like him. Field comes off the bench. Another guy who can shoot BBs. Diving effort, Schreiber out of bounds. It'll be Johns Hopkins ball.
Turn it over on man up. Always makes the coach very upset.
It's one of the things that crippled Princeton's comeback efforts last week. Sloppy turnovers on extra man. Coach Petramala is all fired up. It's 3-1 Tigers, nearly halfway through the second quarter now.
I think Coach Petramala just kind of wants to settle this down, and it's a good time out here for the Blue Jays.
Chance for us to step away. We'll get you back to Homewood Field in Baltimore in a few moments. Tigers on top by 2.
Whose quest for this year's SEC title will continue? The conference's best face off for an automatic chance to dance. The SEC Women's Semifinals today at 4 and 6:30 on ESPNU, the home court of championship week.
Temperatures in the 50s here in Baltimore today. Fans loving the lacrosse action at Homewood Field. It's 3-1 for the Tigers. ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse continues Wednesday night. Right back here at Homewood, Manhattan comes to town to tangle with the 8th-ranked Blue Jays. Old Spice College Lacrosse on ESPNU. It's Wednesday at 7 Eastern. Last year was the Blue Jays downing the Jaspers boys 14-3. Zach Palmer's first ever career goal came against Manhattan. On this afternoon, the Blue Jay faithful have seen a whole lot of Tyler Fiorito making stops.
Yeah, Tyler's locked in. He's stepping extremely well, which is bringing his body over, and he's got such quick hands that he can stop those in tight shots.
Yeah, those three saves were big-time saves. Easily could have been, probably should have been goals. Guys, how about the scrums in this game? Do you think the new rules are making a difference? I mean, the clock's longer now. The ball's on the ground longer. I felt like, normally you'd have whistles blown in years past because, the clock would expire that 20-second or that 10-second. These scrums are going on forever.
Keeps the action going. It's been intense. Both coaches have been able to speak their mind to the officials throughout this day with a question or two. Coach Bates on the Princeton sideline, an all Ivy League attackman and midfielder during his playing days at Dartmouth. These Tigers have a very tough schedule to face in 2011.
Did you see that nice little play they just ran to get the ball into their own box?
That was a very well-designed play by Coach Petramala there on the man down.
Guida then getting a step and drawing a foul.
Called against Princeton. Technical foul happens at the
blonde hair flowing from the helmet of Rob Guida. Very shifty, very quick. He drew the hole.
Offers a delicious variety of overstuffed sandwiches. Have them delivered to your office or pick them up. Visit Eddie's Market on the web, eddiesmarket.com.
It'll be interesting here to see what Hopkins draws up as it's their probably third man-up opportunity, and I think they've yet to have a shot yet.
So Princeton, they go man up, they turn it over, they pressure. Hopkins draws up a beautiful play to break it. Then they're double teaming, and then they foul, and now they're going to be man down. Big time swing. It's a 2-goal swing right there. Potentially.
Trotting in off the sideline, it's Mark Goodrich, the 22-year-old senior, 77 in the white. Greeley coordinating.
There's going to be some movement here as Wharton heads down to the crease.
They rotated inside for Palmer. He took his eyes off of it. Wharton fields it on the backside. Defended by Cunningham. Extra man situation expires. Princeton back to 6-on-6. Brandon Ben, another Canadian import, 92 in the white. Freshman from Brampton, Ontario. Bobby Benson, assistant coach for the Blue Jays, speaking and heaping praise in his direction yesterday at practice. Nothing fancy here from Ben. He'll deliver it for Ranigan. Low scoring in Baltimore today. 3-1 for the Tigers, who had all three in their opening quarter. Tiger fans looking for Jack McBride. The high-scoring attackman has not been on the field yet. He did take warm-ups. Cousin Chris didn't play last week with a concussion, is in the lineup. Greeley and Ranigan. Those two working more hand and glove this season compared to last.
That midfield, they're looking young the way they're playing right now. I hate to say it. Guida's got great quickness, but he's going to have to be a little more physical. Ranigan's got to play a little faster. He's just not making decisions, I don't think, quick enough.
Greeley off of a 5-point performance last week. Wharton sizzles one wide.
Shot out of bounds to the Blue Jays.
That was better. That was a quick decision. Good pull from Wharton.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Wharton's shot's incredible. You give him a second, and he can really let it go.
By Princeton.
Tiger is going to ask for time. Chris Bates will gather the boys around. Player portfolio brought to you by Sector Spiders. We've been mentioning the McBrides quite a bit. This player profile focusing in on Jack McBride, second team All-American back in 09, honorable mention last spring. And Jesse, he'll be your professional outdoor teammate with the Denver Outlaws this summer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with Jack. I've seen him over the years at Princeton. He really is a tremendous all-around player, whether it's carrying the ball, shooting, dodging, and I think he's a great leader. So really looking forward to having him out in Denver with us.
Jack McBride working through a groin injury through most of the preseason for the Tigers, Jamie, and then he aggravated it late in the fourth quarter last week at Hofstra.
You know, he is such a strong shooting, dodging power threat for them that it's a shame. I think they're holding him out. He wanted to play. Coach Bates told me right before the game he wants to play desperately. Just let me get a shift, he's saying. And Coach Bates is just saying, Jack, look, we're going to have to get this thing. You got to get better. We just can't have this linger, for the rest of the season.
22-year-old senior. In that highlight package, you saw him scoring against Johns Hopkins. He bagged 3 against the Blue Jays in that 11-10 OT win last spring. The Tigers right now are dealing with an offensive drought. They started very, very quickly, scored 3 goals in the first 4 minutes of change in the opening quarter. They've hit a dry spell. Hopkins hoping to claw its way back within 1. Boland and Wharton, the veteran attackmen. Greeley and Ranigan, the sophomore midfielders. Greeley straight away. Wharton had that one partially blocked by Myers, and it caught the frame of the goal. 5 minutes to go in this opening half.
Princeton's been playing some pretty solid team defense. They're helping on the ball. They're sliding well, but most importantly, they're recovering so quick that Hopkins hasn't had a ton of time to find open people.
Ranigan against the freshman Strabo. Gets help from Myers. And Long Ellis, the best all-around defender for Princeton, comes away with the ball.
This is where they've been struggling. They've been turning it over. Smart play by Ellis just to settle this thing down.
Getting into the cross of Chris McBride. You see him attack from behind the cage. Princeton a 3-1 lead.
Smart play from Chris there to kind of just hold the ball and settle. Wait till his offensive midfield unit comes onto the field. Princeton hasn't really had a good, solid possession in a while, so look for them to possess the ball here.
Almost 20 minutes, Jesse, without a goal for Princeton. Last man on the board for them, the freshman Tom Schreiber.
I want to see Modi make a play. That kid would look so quick early. I'd like to see that kid make a play.
Moni, who runs on the first midfield with Porcaro and Schreiber. Sonnenfeld coming back on the roll. Schreiber Fires one wide of Pierce Bassett. It'll stay Princeton ball. Seeing numbers at the bottom of the screen. Statistical review of this first half action. Shot totals, both teams into double figures. McBride for Schreiber, he scores! Another 2-goal first half for Tom Schreiber.
Coach Petromalo is not going to be happy with that one, leaving a talented offensive player wide open on the backside there.
That was some kind of a miscommunication. The replay hopefully will show us, exactly what happened. They're packing it in, that's for sure. But when you're packing it in, you got to play inside out, but inside out includes out. You can't just play inside, right, Jesse?
Exactly, and that's a tough one right there for Pierce. Kind of leaving them all alone on an island.
Fracaro wins the draw, takes it himself and scales it high. Tom Schreiber getting on the board again. Fracaro looking for another one.
It's interesting there, Joe. That was the first face-off without a big scrum. Princeton finally won one clean.
It's a clean win of the draw, and then Fracaro, who's a very offensive-minded midfielder for Chris Bates, could take it right to the cage. Princeton leads by 3. And just a reminder, ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse will continue Wednesday night right here at Homewood Field, Manhattan. The Jaspers come in to battle the 8th-ranked Blue Jays. It's Old Spice College Lacrosse on ESPNU Wednesday at 7 Eastern. We've touched upon how Princeton, up until that Schreiber strike, had gone cold. In that game last year, guys, against Manhattan, Johns Hopkins kept them off the board, Jesse, for 53 straight minutes in one stretch. Now, from a goalie standpoint, that's near perfection.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome right there. I can tell you, in my playing career, I've never had a shutout, so to almost have one for a whole game is impressive. And I know Coach Petromalo really stresses that to his team. It's not about the goals given up, but the opportunities. So look for them to clamp down.
Atmosphere here is just wonderful, and this is why the Tigers were looking forward to coming back to Homewood Field, a place they have not visited since '06.
This is a neat place to play. I remember when I was a kid growing up, coming down to the Day of Champions, watching the North-South games down here in the late 80s. Just so much tradition. Very, very neat stadium to be a part of for a real game.
Yeah, it's definitely a special place to play. You have the whole community comes out. You see youth teams come out, and it's pretty much the thing to do in Baltimore on a Saturday afternoon in the spring.
Unless you're a Terp fan.
Fans turning out in droves today. They were better than 14,000 last night, guys. ESPNU, Old Spice College Lacrosse at Carrier Dome, Syracuse, #1 in the land, taking care of Virginia, a game that got a little bit physical at the end.
It did. Well, that was a barn burner first half, and second half they quieted down, but I think, both of those teams they're going to be in there in the final weekend. It's going to be interesting to see how they develop as teams.
Princeton with possession of the ball very late now in this opening half. A 4-1 leader over their hosts, the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. Fracaro marked on the outside by Ben Smith. Smith is a grad student, played his undergraduate lacrosse at Harvard. Jesse, you say there are some similarities between these two teams defensively. Coach, we knew that Harvard and Johns Hopkins have some similarities in their scheme. Ben Smith can acclimate too.
Well, yesterday when we were talking to Coach Petromala, he talked about the fact that, he and John Tillman, let's look at this play here first.
McBride sends it wide.
John Tillman, current Terp coach, former Harvard coach, pretty close with Coach Petromala. They play very similar defensive schemes, and when Coach Tillman said, hey, Ben's going to be able to play for you, he knows the schemes, he's smart, he's reliable, that's like music to your ears as a coach. You want reliability on defense.
On the ball right there, keeping an eye on Fracaro. Now Donovan, the short stick D-mid, trots with his man back behind the cage.
Hopkins right here designated Tyler Durkin to slide, so they're kind of playing a zone up top, a 3-man zone guarding 4 with Durkin going to be the automatic slider.
Mike Grossman working in against Donovan. Grossman a steady Eddie for these Princeton Tigers. Jesse, just how complex is this Blue Jays defense?
It's tremendous. I mean, kind of every pass, it's a different defense, and it looks like right now they lined up in a little bit of a zone, and now with the flag down, there's just a ton of communication that has to occur to be successful here.
A lot of recognition, I would imagine, for a young goaltender. Pierce Bassett has a lot to get on the page with respect to doing his homework.
Yeah, and after speaking with Pierce and Coach Petro, it seems like he's picking it up more, and he's gaining confidence as the season goes along. And I think what's important for Pierce is that the team has confidence in him.
Larkin with a flag down. Princeton soon to go extra man. Feed inside, knocked away. Durkin doing the job. Good recovery by Fracaro. Grossman against Riley. Rolls back to the inside. Grossman scores! Mike Grossman with great patience.
That was, you watch the first play where they kind of turn it over and they didn't dodge particularly physically. Here, what you will notice is how physical Grossman dodges to his left hand.
Yeah, and it's surprising because Jack Riley's such an imposing defender. He kind of matched that physicality, and the slide was just late coming across.
He turned him. What he's supposed to do is turn him, make him inside roll. You're supposed to have a slide there. But when you lean on your guy that hard, all of a sudden you're going to have a little more separation on the move, on the rollback than you would if you didn't. And that's really what made that thing a successful opportunity for Princeton.
Mike Grossman, who hails from Potomac, Maryland, about a half hour, 40 minutes away from here in Baltimore. Jumping for joy there. He makes it 5-1 Tigers. With just over a minute to go in the first half, Fracaro wins another draw cleanly. Sonnenfeld moves it for Larkin, who fumbled. The Tigers will be content to play deliberate lacrosse now, on the lead by 4 this late in the half, and working man up. Ball will belong to Princeton. Coming up, Maryland and Duke. We're working with the Warrior Lacrosse halftime report, a pro session. Jesse Schwartzman gets involved in that with Quint Kesnick. All coming up from back in our studios. Princeton looking for more and getting it. Schreiber has the hat trick with a bullet to the top corner.
That was very good ball movement by Princeton, and Pierce is shaking his head right there. He'd like to have that one back.
Hopkins' defense looked pretty solid in their rotations, but what you're going to get when people are rotating a lot is opportunities for skip passes, which is exactly what they got.
Especially on the man-up situation. They skipped it up top to a shooter at about 14 yards, shot it stick side high. Looking at Pierce right there, he'd like to have that one back.
Young man Tom Schreiber, 19-year-old freshman, as advertised, something special offensively. He has half of Princeton's goals in the opening 30 minutes. Ranigan wins a draw. 8 seconds left. Kick it quickly. Castronova off the turf with 2 to go. And we are done with the opening 30 minutes of play. And Princeton very solid, very sound in this road game. Leading the Blue Jays under Dave Petramala's direction by a 6-1 margin. Stay with us. Halftime festivities and activities coming up in just a few moments as you enjoy Old Spice College Lacrosse.
Seasons may change, but my game will stay the same. Introducing the Surgeon STX, featuring all climate performance technology.
Lax World, your destination for STX lacrosse gear used by the top teams in college lacrosse.
Lax World offers the best selection on the newest men's equipment, like the new STX Assault padding line, the new Surgeon head, and the new Force handle. Now offering the best selection of STX women's gear, like the new Crux and Crux 10, and the new women's Ultra Goalie Glove and Chest Protector.
Come check out our newest stores in York, PA and Columbia, Maryland. STX and Lax World. Never stop.
Attention all homeowners. The Mortgage Help Center will help you today. Are you struggling making your mortgage payments? Do you have an adjustable rate mortgage? Do you need to lower your mortgage payments to an amount you can afford? If the answer is yes, then you need to call the Mortgage Help Center now. We may be able to cut your mortgage payment in half and help reduce your interest payment to a record low percent. Find out what we can do for you today with a free consultation. Don't worry about foreclosure anymore. Don't worry about how you will pay your bills another minute. Call the Mortgage Help Center now. Call us toll-free, and we can relieve your stress with dramatically lower mortgage payments. If you call now, we may be able to cut your mortgage payment in half and help you reduce your interest payment to a record low percent. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 1-800-683-1563. That's 1-800-683-1563. Don't delay. Call today at 1-800-683-1563.
Busy day in lacrosse. How about the number 3 team in the nation, Maryland, going up against the defending national champion Duke Blue Devils. First quarter, Dukies down 2-1. David Lawson from Tom Montelli ties things up at 2. Still a 2-2 game. Later in the first, Travis Reed, Joe Cummings, his second goal of the day. Terps go back in front 3-2. Second quarter, same score. Christian Walsh to Zach Howell. His 11th goal of the season. We're tied at 3. And then second quarter, Jordan Wolf to Jake Tripucka. Duke the 5-4 halftime lead. Hi, and welcome into the Warrior Halftime Report. Kevin Connors with you. We'll take you back to second half lacrosse action coming up, but let's get you caught up on the world of college basketball. Kansas and Missouri going at it. First half, Jayhawks in front with the early 7-2 lead. How about Markieff Morris? Look out below. Missouri 17-0 at home this season. But, of course, going up against the number 2 team in the nation, all sorts of weapons can hurt you on Kansas. That's Marcus Morris splitting the double team. And how about that acrobatic shot? He'd make the free throw. Jayhawks led 30-20. Second half, Mizzou down by just 1. It's Lawrence Bowers. Tigers took a 1-point lead, and then Thomas Robinson right back at you. With a win, Kansas wraps up the 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament. They lead this game right now by 13. Louisville and West Virginia, Joe Mazzulla on senior day in Morgantown. First half, Mountaineers down by 5. Kevin Jones, no, but John Flowers, why not? Mountaineers back within 3. Rick Pitino looking on. He said, get the rock to Kyle Kuric. Third straight three-pointer. Louisville led by 2. Same score, West Virginia with the rock. Jones. Nice second effort. He had a double-double in the first half alone. 15 points, 12 rebounds. Mountaineers led by 2 at the half. Second half, Preston Knowles forcing the turnover. Chris Smith to Terrence Jenkins. Basket and a foul. Cardinals lead this one under 4 minutes. 5-5. Well, 3 teams will punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament today. First in the Big South Conference Championship, UNC Asheville and Coastal Carolina, 4 Eastern on ESPN2. And then later tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN2, Tennessee Tech and Morehead State in the Ohio Valley Conference. We'll take a timeout. Tom Schreiber, he's got a hat trick in the first half for Princeton. The Tigers, the 6-1 halftime lead.
This I wasn't big enough for 2 zeros.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Is that all you got?
I'm up to my knees in 0 calories. Pepsi to the max, so let's drink all of these. Snoop! Pepsi Max. Too much taste to be called a zero.
Select Sector Spiders are ETFs with a different spin. Select Sector Spiders are unique ETFs that divide the S&P 500 into 9 sector index funds. Select Sector Spiders. Visit us on the web at sectorspdrs.com.
Hello, ladies. Where can you go when your man smells like me? Close your eyes and I'll show you. Do you feel it? The sand between your toe tips? I do. Surprise! You're on a mountain peak. Why, play those sweet shalalas you love to hear. Firework colors turn our world upside down. I hope you like water, because we're neck deep in the sweet waters of friendship and trust. You see, when your man smells like the fresh scents of Old Spice, you can go anywhere. Unless, of course, you prefer to stay in.
Bright lights. Big city. Where history meets the present.
He slams it home. Oh, what a show he's putting on.
Glory awaits only one. The Big East Tournament first round live from Madison Square Garden, Tuesday at 7 to 9 on ESPNU. The home court of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
The action is quieted down in Baltimore here at Homewood Field, where Johns Hopkins is entertaining Princeton. It's halftime and time for us to bring in Quint Kesnick with this week's Warrior Pro Session.
This halftime report is presented by Warrior. All hail. And now, a Warrior Pro Session with Quint Kesnick.
The lacrosse goal is big, the ball is small, and moves at speeds up to 100 miles per hour. The goaltending position in lacrosse, one of the toughest in sports. Requiring cat-like quickness and guts, goalies are a different breed. They stick their bodies in front of projectiles when most mortals would duck for cover. Hand-eye coordination and solid angle play are mandatory traits. When the game is on the line, the best goalies are poised and ready to make a difference. We are joined by Jesse Schwartzman, professional goalie, former two-time NCAA champion, who has the ability to make the game-changing save, the one from point-blank range. How do you do it?
Well, first I got to focus on the shooter's stick. That's where the ball is. That's where it's going to come out. He's going to try and throw me off by faking and all that, so I got to stay focused and patient in the goal. And the third thing, when the ball leaves the stick, I got to react and just throw my body at the ball.
Okay, I get the question a lot. I'm sure you do too. What is the toughest shot for you to save?
Well, it's kind of different. Depends where it's coming from, who's shooting it. But in all, I think the toughest shot to save is the offside hit. I mean, first of all, you're standing in the cage, and to get to the offside hit, you either have to go all the way over top or come all the way underneath. And that's just a far movement and tough to make that save.
For you, what was the toughest transition from the college ranks at Johns Hopkins now to Major League Lacrosse?
Well, Johns Hopkins, everyone was good, but we were playing in a system. Now in the pro league as a goalie, every person's a threat. You have to worry about 6 guys on the field that are all shooting 90 miles an hour plus, and the whole speed of the game. There's a shot clock, so the kind of focus has to be there at all times.
What is the toughest aspect of goaltending in the professional ranks?
Guarding the 2-point range and guarding the fast shot. There's a number of guys that can bring the ball 100 miles an hour plus. So I guess just being courageous in the goal is a big thing.
It takes a lot. It takes technique, smarts, focus, and courage if you want to be a successful goalie in lacrosse.
This halftime report is presented by Warrior. All hail. Warrior.com.
Hello, ladies. Where can you go when your man smells like me? Close your eyes and I'll show you. Do you feel it? The sand between your toe tips? I do. Surprise! You're on a mountain peak. Why, play those sweet shalalas you love to hear. Firework colors turn our world upside down. I hope you like water, because we're neck deep in the sweet waters of friendship and trust. You see, when your man smells like the fresh scents of Old Spice, you can go anywhere. Unless, of course, you prefer to stay in.
The Healthcare Select Sector Spider. Visit us on the web at sectorspdrs.com.
IRS problems? An IRS tax agreement can help you. Yes, you can do something about your IRS back taxes.
Do you have a lien on your house? Are your wages being garnished? Has your bank account been levied? If you doubt that you could ever pay your tax debt in full, you owe it to yourself to find out about an IRS tax agreement. With many people facing financial difficulties, the IRS recently emphasized that the IRS would go the extra mile to help taxpayers facing unusual hardships. Taxpayers across the nation looking for a fresh start with their IRS problems have called for a free tax settlement analysis.
There are real solutions for your IRS problems. You owe it to yourself to act now. Call today. Don't wait. The law may change.
If you don't have the assets and won't have the income to fully pay your back taxes, you should request an IRS-approved tax agreement.
Yes, you can do something about your IRS problems, and yes, an IRS-approved tax agreement can help you.
Not all taxpayers qualify for relief, so you owe it to yourself to call today for a free confidential tax settlement analysis and a face-to-face meeting at a location near you. Call 888-242-6520 now.
Turned out to be a pretty pleasant afternoon in Baltimore, just right for Old Spice College lacrosse as we welcome you back to Homewood Field. These two teams, Princeton and Johns Hopkins, have played 30 minutes this afternoon. The Tigers with 3 in the first, 3 more in the second, and a 6-1 lead. Joe Beninati joined by Jamie Monroe and Jesse Schwartzman. Jamie, the former coach at Denver. Jesse, the 2-time NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player goaltender for the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. Boys, let's get right to the highlights. And for Princeton, Tyler Fiorito has been very strong in goal.
Yeah, he's on fire. And when Hopkins has had a good shot, he's been there. He looks quick. He's moving his feet. And this one in tight's really impressive with the quick hands, just matching head on head.
Tom Schreiber, the freshman, here on the man up, stepping in and just hammering a high to low overhand shot. Here on the invert. Catches it, steps in with a little jump shot, still high to low. Textbook shooting.
Coach is telling us that youngster just loves the spotlight. He's been very good. First half summary-wise, 3 goals for Schreiber. Fiorito on the back end's been outstanding, and Kyle Wharton is the only man to this point to have beaten him for Johns Hopkins, a team that comes in at 3-0. Fiorito and Bassett in the net-minding matchup.
Joe Hopkins playing a little young. You know, they were worried about that. They know they're a young team. They knew they were 3-0, not having played against great competition here in their first big test. We'll see if they can play with a little more maturity and a little more presence this half.
Rannigan controls the draw. Kicks it quickly. Ooh, into hostile territory there. Olin was covered up. Fiorito helping his team on the clear.
Hopkins pushing it in the transition game again. Again, could have scored, but now they gave it right back.
Yeah, I thought that was a great face-off by Rannigan and a good play to push it, but when it wasn't there, I think he kind of forced the pass a little bit. He just should have pulled it out there.
Tyler Money able to strike for Princeton in the opening half as they get their first possession here in the third quarter. Tigers ranked 10th in the land. A 2-goal setback suffered last week for them at Hofstra. Ground ball story heavily favoring Princeton, as you see the stats at the bottom of the screen. Schreiber, off that first half hat trick, funnels it back for Chris McBride. Cousin Jack, the #1 goal scorer for the Tigers a season ago, did not play in the first half. He took the warm-up. Jack McBride battling a groin injury he aggravated last week against Hofstra. Switch it up, here's Schreiber. Pawns it off inside for Caro. Bullseye.
How about that? Nice pick and roll, pick and slip. They played the 2-man game out top. Threw back on the slip. And when everyone thought that there was going to be a shot right here, it became a feed. And when you wind up, you are in triple threat position, Joe. You can. It looks like you might shoot. You can shoot. It looks like you might feed. You can feed. And you can dodge. That was great offense.
Jamie, a season ago, this Pairs offense you referred to was new to the Hopkins defenders. They were getting acclimated to it. This year, head coach Chris Bates for the Tigers says, you know what, we have to be unpredictable to be successful today, and they have been.
They have been, in particular because of where they're running it. Normally, they've been running their Pairs offense in those two-man games on the wings, and when we saw Hopkins practicing, they were practicing mostly wing action. That was out top, and they caught him on the slip because they were switching the pick.
Officials today, Hans Wittelsberger, Tommy Brannick, and Michael Hyland. They went through a stick check of Jeff Fricaro after the sophomore strikes. He's got 18 career goals. 14 of them are in the second half or overtime. So he gets better as the game goes along.
It's a good trait to have right there, Joe.
That stick deemed legal. There are a number of ways in which a lacrosse stick, where the cross can be illegal. One, first and foremost, that you come to think of would be the pocket depth. Rannigan marching against Smythe. Feeds to the inside. That was a tough catch. Bolin was behind him.
They actually had looks there. They had the throwback, and they probably could have pumped it to the throwback and even had the skip pass. But, you know, they're playing young. Well, let's just hope that they, you know, for their sake, that they begin to play a little bit more maturity.
Connor Riley at midfield. Player who's dealt with his own injury concerns in the past. Back in 09, it was a concussion that kept him out quite a bit. Money helping out, lending support on the sideline. Ball down on the deck. Tucker Durkin looking for it. Dave Petramala says at 51 in the white, he plays with a quiet strength. Leitner converted from long stick midfielder to close defense this spring. Keeping tabs now on Luke Armour.
I think Hopkins is going to be fine. I mean, you know, they're finding themselves now, but they're pretty athletic, Jesse. When you watch them, I mean, they're putting pressure all over the place. They can run with you. They just got to get into a groove and grow up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're extending a little bit on defense, which is, I think, due to their athletic ability back there. Offensively, they just need to settle down, and I think they're playing a little bit timid there, Jamie.
On the hop, it's Money. Rolls back, feeds for Sonnenfeld. That pass gets away. Chris McBride backing it up. Racing in against Durkin. It's Grossman setting the screen.
It's a tough matchup right here for Hopkins with a stud attackman and Rannigan guarding him. Look for him to slide early.
They do. The feed comes inside, and Grossman is upset with himself for not converting that.
There's an old adage that you always have a little more time than you think you do when you catch a ball, and you always have a little less time than you think you do when you're dodging, and that was the perfect example. He had a little bit more time in there, didn't he, Jess?
It's a great look right there, and second slide was just a little bit late.
It's Grossman straight away, Rannigan on the outside. Grossman stumbles after blocking feet there. The jump shot caught the outside of the goal. The effort from Luke Armour. Already on the board with 7, Princeton against Johns Hopkins, and the Tigers without their top goal scorer of a season ago, and not much of an offensive impact just yet from Chris McBride.
Guys, how was that not a trip or a push or something? I mean, the guy clearly went down because, you know, there's no such thing as an inadvertent trip. I'm not saying it had to be a flag down, but they got to give Princeton the ball back.
Here's Guida, Jamie, with a good first step, and then Chris Bolin, who quarterbacks things. Smartest player on the roster, according to head coach Petramala.
I like Guida. I think he's quick. I think he's smart. He's skilled. I just feel like he needs to be a little bit more physical. When you get to the Division I level as a midi, you got to dodge and bury your body into that guy's body. Even if you're smaller, you still have to do that, or you will not have the angle you want.
Been impressed with Princeton's defense today. Good look at the point of view of Tyler Fiorito and the guys with the long sticks, forcing yet another turnover. Johns Hopkins has been mistake playing the Blue Jays in the offensive zone.
That double team that Princeton just executed was beautiful, but honestly, you got to know that's coming if you're dodging from behind the net. You got to, I mean, your whole life, that's where they've slid from, and that's how they've doubled it. You got to be looking and communicating.
Almost 6 minutes into this third quarter. Princeton led 6-1 at the half, and they've built on that advantage.
Hopkins right now has all three of their offensive midfielders stuck back on defense. So look for some early slides from up top.
Larkin has it back behind the cage. We see Mike Poppleton on the field for the first time today, 29 in the orange. Fracaro ready to go against Rule. Swings back, looking to create his own shot. Fracaro takes it high and wide on Pierce Basson.
As a head coach, as a defensive coordinator, you hate it when you've got three short sticks, particularly offensive guys on the field. Not only do they have great matchups, but your personnel doesn't usually know all the defenses when they're second-line midfielder.
Poppleton isolates against Goodrich. Mike Poppleton kept to the outside. Well done there. Money inverted. Rule to defend. Tyler Money, who had a couple of goals against Johns Hopkins last year at M&T Bank, about 15 minutes away in downtown Baltimore. Princeton has won the last 2 straight up against the Blue Jays. Sonnenfeld with room, bounced it wide. To push, it'll stay Princeton ball.
The big boy bearing in. I really would like to have seen him cut his guy off more and gain a little more angle, and he would have had a sure thing.
It was Marshall Burkhardt who gave him a shove into the crease.
Yeah, he's such a young player. I think when he learns to use his size a little bit better, Jamie, he'll be able to do those kind of things.
Fracaro and the Tigers more and more deliberate in these offensive sets. Methodical approach as we hit the midway mark of this third quarter.
Princeton's going to be in a time of the game here where they got to keep scoring goals. They got to be aggressive, but they also want to be very, very patient.
Chris McBride ripped off there from the blind side of the trail check of Tucker Durkin. Good hustle there. Blue Jays ball as the sophomore Durkin makes a fine play.
Yeah, it's going to be those kind of effort plays that get. It's going to be those effort plays that gets Hopkins back into the game. That's a tremendous, tremendous job by the sophomore right there.
Reminds me of you diving to that end line. You did that a time or two on this very field.
I think he might have been a little bit quicker, though.
Don't sell yourself short. Blue Jays need one in a hurry. 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Princeton in control. Greeley, 3 goals and 2 assists against Siena last week. Playing catch with Guida. They say that midfielder, 27 in the white, is very good in small spaces. He tries to create against Smythe. Wharton, marked by Mike Flanagan, who came on for Rob Costello, the sophomore long stick defender who was injured in quarter 2. Guida races into the alley. Avoids the double of Long Ellis, but the pass is low. Another turnover against Johns Hopkins.
I didn't like the final decision there of either Guida or the ex-attackman, who probably should have been backing off. But I did like the way Guida dodged. He went harder, and he actually cut his guy off. Had they created the right spacing, he actually could have had a shot at him.
Tigers settling into another offensive run. Cliff Larkin back behind the cage.
I tell you, possessions are so valuable this time of the game, and being down 6, those turnovers are just multiplied, and they really, really hurt you.
Sonnenfeld rolling in on Leitner. Double team coming. Sonnenfeld beats them both. Then a good strong check from Durkin. Puts the ball down on the turf. It'll be Blue Jay ball.
Sonnenfeld got a little surprised on the double team there too. When you're that big, you know they're going to be starting to come. You got to be looking, and honestly, what you really need to be doing is faking. You know, I mean, he needs to be pumping passes to try to keep those guys a little off balance, kind of like the way Ryan Powell pumps his passes all the time.
Only goal today for Johns Hopkins from Kyle Wharton, a lethal outside shooter. He scored from a severe angle against Tyler Fiorito, and that's been it. Fiorito made a couple of very strong saves early in this game, and then the complexion switched very much in Princeton's favor.
It's almost as if Hopkins is trying to hit that perfect shot and not just shooting to the net.
It's a point the coaches were saying that this year in the first 3 games, they thought they were acting more instinctively and not thinking about every step in the offensive equation. Coppersmith. Straight away now Rule. Gets the jump on his defender. Boland. Move it for Palmer. Inside, that's pretty, and it's stuffed out by Fiorito. He saw it coming from Burkhart. Fiorito will take it for a ride. Stick check there by Coppersmith, who comes up with the ground ball.
That was great offense all the way around. I mean, unfortunately, it was even better save, but that's the hard thing. Oh, boy.
Nice stick check there in transition. It was Cunningham who made that check. Luke Armour will slow the pace with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Smart play right there by the sophomore Luke Armour to pull it out, settle it, get your offensive personnel on. What a play by Tyler Fiorito down at the other end.
Yeah, I was saying, Hopkins actually, Coppersmith ran by his guy beautifully, drew a slide, 2 passes, pick inside, wide open feeder, cutter off of the pick. Perfect feed, and that's why offense is so unreliable, because you can do everything right and still not score.
Donovan marking Schreiber. Grossman fires, and Bassett read that play very well. It's Donovan on the run for Johns Hopkins. Looking for numbers. Donovan then runs into trouble. Grossman got back into the hole. Boland will settle it for the Blue Jays. 3 minutes and 15 seconds with which to work in the third. Hopkins trailed by 5 at the half. It's 6 now as the 2 netminders are closing in on double figures in the save department. It's been a quiet afternoon for 45 in the white. Zach Palmer back behind the net. Leading goal scorer, leading point producer for the Blue Jays. Guida racing against Schreiber. The double comes early from Myers. Greeley finding Palmer, and Schreiber switches off well on him. Behind the back floater over the unsuspecting Boland, and Fiorito says thanks very much.
That was a great look by Palmer. I just don't think Boland was expecting that from his sophomore mate.
That's the second feed of Palmer's that the receiver was not ready for what actually was a brilliant play.
Yeah, I mean, playing with the Canadians, you got to know to expect anything and expect everything. The ball can come in a number of ways, and just like right there.
Chris McBride showing no ill effects of the concussion injury which kept him out of the lineup last week. Plays it for Luke Armour in the far corner. Cliff Larkin, high lacrosse IQ. Didn't play last year. He was bothered by a stress fracture in his back. Tyler Money, the co-captain for Princeton. Pair of 27 straight away. Chris McBride. Then Armour.
Watch how Money uses little hesitations and skips when he dodges. It's really interesting to watch him go.
27 in the orange, setting the pick now for Chris McBride. 80 seconds left in this frame. Chris McBride. Money. Not able to shake loose from Tucker Durkin.
Look for maybe a keep it in the box stall warning coming next time they touch it in here.
21-year-old Luke Armour gets inside. Now the Tigers do have to keep it in the box.
Once again, Hopkins has their one of their first midfield guys stuck on defense, so look for early slides here.
Guida trading McBride off to Durkin. Poppleton swings it back for Fricaro. Money on the roll. Off the outside of the pipe. Castronova brings it ahead. Sends it into the alley for Boland. Long Ellis has done a fine job defensively for Princeton today. Flanagan racing after Wharton. Wiedmeyer comes to double. Wiedmeyer flails it ahead. 5 seconds left. Armour being encouraged to shoot. Didn't pull the trigger. And there are 3 quarters complete in Baltimore, Maryland today. Old Spice College Lacrosse. Dave Petramala's team in a heap of trouble. Blue Jays trailing by 6 after 3.
Being the official soft drink of the NFL takes a special formula. It takes drive, determination, and a whole lot of taste. With millions of thirsty NFL fans out there, you've got to deliver every Sunday. And if you can do it all with 0 calories, you will be a legend. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste.
Winter snow and ice got you stuck? Now you can eliminate ice patch frustration, backbreaking dig-outs, and avoid hundreds of dollars in towing fees. Introducing Tread Ahead. Tread Ahead will prevent your car from ever getting stuck in ice and snow again. Guaranteed. If your car, SUV, or truck ever gets stuck, just take Tread Ahead and simply slip its patented rugged tire tracks under the wheel of your car. In just 5 seconds, your car has the traction it needs to escape that icy patch. The secret is Tread Ahead's patented dual grip design that digs into the ice on one side and gives your tire the traction it needs on the other. Tread Ahead works with all cars, SUVs, and trucks. Get your Tread Ahead now for only $19.95. Call or log on right now and get a second one for just half price. Don't risk ever getting stuck in the snow or mud again. Tread Ahead guarantees to get you out first time, every time. It's a true lifesaver. Get Tread Ahead today. Call now.
Goal for Princeton, backstopping what is a 7-1 advantage. And the freshman midfielder Tom Schreiber with a first half hat trick has been outstanding. In the third quarter, low scoring between these two. Fracaro building the advantage. The Tigers have a 7-1 lead. It's Joe Beninati, Jamie Monroe, and in the middle here, Big Jesse Schwartzman. And Jesse, defensively, it has been a rough kind of day for Pierce Bassett and the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think Hopkins is young back there, and Princeton's playing so methodically, and they're getting quality shots. They're putting them on cage, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the sophomore goalie.
Jamie, let's summarize a little bit. We are done with 3 quarters in Baltimore, and it is Princeton showing its dominance.
Well, Princeton's shown great variety in the way they've attacked. They've attacked both with their 2-man game on the wings out top. They've inverted. They've taken wing dodges. They've banged the ball, and they've really begun to take care of the ball on their own possessions. Even though they didn't score a ton that quarter, they had the ball a lot.
Possession time, critical for Johns Hopkins. Should they have any chance to rally now, they need the ball a lot. It begins at the face-off. Rannigan and Fracaro. Fracaro won just 1 of 4 last week against Hofstra. He's been much better today. Ball along that sideline, coming up. It bounds to Luke Armour, and Princeton gets the first possession of the fourth. Battle of two teams in the top 10. From Homewood Field here in Baltimore, along with Jamie Monroe and Jesse Schwartzman, I'm Joe Beninati. So glad you've tuned in there with us. It's Old Spice College Lacrosse on ESPNU. Princeton facing a daunting schedule, especially early in the 2011 campaign, even before they get into the Ivy League battles. Princeton crowned Ivy League champs 25 times in their history. Schreiber moves against Castronova. Luke Armour to play. Finds Sonnenfeld. That pass dipped low. Sonnenfeld trying to scoop it in. Follow up there, Schreiber for his fourth.
That's just an unlucky one there. I mean, a ball laying on the crease, that has got to be the goalie's ball clamped down, and the defense has to take some bodies there.
It was unlucky, I guess, but it was also kind of lucky that that wasn't a goal off the first feed. I mean, Hopkins came out of the middle and didn't fill. The ball probably should have been a goal right off the feed, but tough one.
Yeah, you see Bassett trying to scoop that there instead of just clamping it in and bring it inside of his crease. So tough one there for the Blue Jays.
A fired up Dave Petramala on the sidelines as Pierce Bassett gets his sights set for the draw. Tom Schreiber better than 200 points in high school at St. Anthony's. Fellas, I have to be fond of Mr. Schreiber for that very reason. That's my alma mater on Long Island. Schreiber, very good quarterback in football, too. And I'm wondering how the skills of one sport relate to the other. If you are a football QB, I would imagine you see the field very well in lacrosse.
Yeah, it looks like Tom has tremendous vision, and that's one of the main qualities for a midfielder. And he looks like an all-around midfielder who can shoot, dodge, feed. So very impressed with him so far today.
On the hop, it's Bolin. Rolling back against Long Ellis. Here comes the double. Wiedmeyer times that so effectively. Loose ball push. It'll stay Johns Hopkins ball. Wiedmeyer, number 9 in the orange. When he sets his sights on doubling, he arrives in a bad mood. For Johns Hopkins, so prolific offensively in its first 3 outings, they have gone cold today. Guida with a bouncer underneath the crossbar and out, no goal. Scooped up by Mike Flanagan, junior from Bethesda, Maryland. On for Peter Smythe. And away come the Tigers with Connor Riley. Chris McBride will jog with it. Cousin Jack not in the lineup today. Took the warm-up, but has not played. And you would imagine with the Tigers comfortably in front, there's no reason to put the high-scoring McBride in while he's dealing with a groin injury. Money working up top with Schreiber, who has been the key cog in Princeton's offense today with 4 goals. As the Tigers work it around the horn, you see Pierce Bassett's point of view. Money. No running room given to him by Guida. Schreiber will come to get it. Castronova, who they call the prototype for a defensive midfielder at Hopkins, working on him. Turning the corner, rolling back. Bassett with the stop there on Armour. Castronova comes up with the ground ball.
It's a good save right there by Pierce. Way to move his body in front of the ball.
Bill Castronova had an assist against Taos in week 1. Gets the Blue Jays an offensive whack. 4 minutes into the 4th quarter.
Johns Hopkins has got to get something going. He got a little unlucky last time when Guida hit the crossbar on a bounce shot. It was actually a great take. He was physical. He leaned on his guy. You know, there's time, don't you think? There's time, but they got to get something going.
And do so in a hurry. 18-year-old freshman Eric Rule spins it back for Lee Coppersmith. Smythe out there defensively for Princeton. Palmer to a knee, then for Boland. Spins away from Long Ellis. Skip a man to Coppersmith. Rule. One more to Boland inside. He scores. As he's soaring through the air.
That was just good offense and good defense, honestly. I mean, all around, Hopkins was patient. You know, when Coppersmith gets around his guy, he's pretty dangerous. But watch, we draw a slide here, dump it down. Second slide's a touch late, but it required a great play for Boland to score. So that's, I mean, you know, it's good. It's good offense, good defense.
Yeah, it's tough for Ty right there. Guy right on it, right in front of him, right on the crease. But that's Hopkins' best offensive player, and glad he showed up here. Looking for a little more from him right now.
Dave Petramala says Chris Boland sees the plays 2 or 3 passes before they even develop. Boland picking up the marker. Face-off possession important now, and Tyler Money says thank you for Princeton. Burkhart overran that ball. A season ago at this time, Burkhart was on the injured list. As Ranigan defends against Chris McBride. (8-2) for Princeton. Returning this season for our college lacrosse audience on ESPN's family of networks. ESPN U Lacrosse podcast is hosted each week by Quint Kesnick. Quint bringing on some players and coaches and insiders for detailed discussions on this growing sport. It's ESPN U's Lacrosse podcast. It's available at ESPN.com/PodCenter and at iTunes. Subscribe for free. Week to week, guys, there are plenty of good guests joining Quint, and good from an educational standpoint about this great sport.
I love listening to that podcast. There's so much great information. So many, listening to coaches and players talk.
Wild scramble at the midline. Ball bouncing back for Grossman and the Tigers. Things have gone their way today in Baltimore.
These possessions are just so valuable at this time in the game, and with this lead, look for Princeton to stall a little bit, and that was a tough one right there. Hopkins had it and lost it again in the middle of the field.
These two squads have met every year since 1937, except for 1944, when our country was involved in World War II. The latest installment has been all Princeton. Money marked there by Ranigan. Here's Bassett begging for his defenders to shape up. Grossman on the roll.
Looks like Pierce is asking for a little more pressure from his defenseman. Hopkins needs the ball here with 8 minutes remaining, down 6. So look for the Hopkins guys to press out a little more.
Schreiber on the run, bounding one wide off of his offhand. It's been a day filled with big hits and plenty of animated reactions on the sideline.
Coach Petramala asking for the cross check right there.
Princeton has the advantage. It's 8-2. Blue Jays here at home having some difficulties.
Built tough, hot like a Ford Hemi, muddy, bloody, and bruised up. From sports, everything, anything but ordinary. The crowd standouts know each other by the number, feed off the energy. Sweating in the gym for weeks, the win is within our reach. Body checks, I have you kissing my cleats. The man behind the mask is a maverick, letting off fuck 10 shots for the hat trick.
Has to be plenty of good vibes in that Princeton huddle. The Tigers are on top of Johns Hopkins on the road in Baltimore today, 8-2. ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse continues next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Off of the big win over Virginia, it's Syracuse tangling with Big East rival Georgetown. Then at 1:30, Cornell squares off with Virginia. It's the Konica Minolta Face-Off Classic from M&T Bank Stadium on ESPNU next Saturday. An evening ago, the top two teams in the nation squared off, and these two guys were outstanding offensively.
Coach's son, Tim Desko, had just a great game, scoring just about every way you could. And then Shamel Bratton showing why he's, maybe the most athletic midfielder we've seen in a long time. He can just blow by you and pretty much do what he wants to do.
Just a matchup nightmare there.
Jesse, what was your review of Gittleman and Galloway, the goalies, an evening ago?
To be honest, I thought both of them started off a little bit slow, and then I think Gittleman really stood on his head and kept his team in the game. Hopkins here with the double off the out-of-bounds play.
And it's rang off the iron on the post there. Grossman had the open net with Bassett out helping his defense. Works out just fine for the Blue Jays. They need the ball. Boland's first career goal was scored against Princeton. His most recent tally is one here in the fourth. It's 8-2.
Well, good job double teaming on the end line. Princeton almost scored, kind of luckily, just chucking it behind their back and in front of the net. Maybe good things will happen. It's kind of like your hockey days there, Joe. Just chuck it in front of the net.
You never know. You never know. Big day for Princeton come ground balls, as you can tell. A bunch of statistics at the bottom of the screen. The ground ball story, all Tigers. This one's backed up by Palmer. Inside, quick stick. Boland rings the crossbar. Fiorito with a fast hands. Boland a near miss. This will be Princeton ball.
I tell you, Fiorito looks very, very tough to beat today, and if you're locked in on those tight ones, his eyes are good right now, his hands are quick, and he's tough. He's tough to beat right now.
Timing is so good from Fiorito, 21-year-old junior, Phoenix, Maryland.
Pressure ride going on right here from Johns Hopkins. It's called a 10-man ride where the goalie comes out of the cage and covers an attackman. See if they can get the ball back. Empty net here, though. Oh, they got it.
They make the strip. Boland doing the honors. Wharton towards the open cage. He scores. Kyle Wharton.
I'll tell you, when we were at practice yesterday, guys, we noticed Hopkins working on that 10-man ride just for that situation when you're down towards the end of the game. Want to bring your goalie out and get locked on everyone on the field. Hopkins did a good job executing there, and Boland found it and found the open. Wharton, who just canned it from 22 yards.
Generally, what coaches will do is they'll have a package for the end of a game that will include how you get the ball back with a 10-man ride, what you're going to do on offense, and what you're going to do if you're man up. And they have a whole sequence of things that they're prepared for to be able to be in situations where you have to come back and win.
Can Ranigan win a critical face-off? Not this time. Cunningham off the wing, doing the job, working in tandem with Bobby Lucas, 17 in the orange. Tyler Money and the Princeton Tigers have an 8-3 lead with 6:15 to go in the fourth. Next up for the Tigers, they'll play host to North Carolina at the class of 1952 stadium. They lost to the Tar Heels a season ago in Chapel Hill, 12-11. They rallied from 5-goal deficits a bunch of times in that one, but ultimately would fall. Sonnenfeld on the outside with Grossman. Former Washington Post High School Area Player of the Year, Landon. Grossman measured there by Ranigan. Chris McBride kicks it. Moni fires. That was deadened by Castronova. A race to the end line. It's Princeton ball.
Disagree with that call right there, as looks like it's Hopkins had two guys that were closer to the actual ball. It's not just closest to the end line.
Officials after a conference are going to agree with you, Jesse, giving Johns Hopkins the ball.
Yeah, if you notice, it was a deflected shot, and it's the closest guy to the ball when it goes out of bounds, not just the first guy to the end line.
After a quick conference, the officials get it right, giving the Blue Jays the ball back here at Homewood Field. Time ticking away on their comeback efforts. 5:14 to go. Kyle Wharton has 2 goals today.
It's a one at a time scenario. You're not going to get it all back at once. It's obviously true, but you just have to make one play and then make another.
Boland on a sneak, losing Long Ellis, who recovers well. Guida straight away. Gets a pick from Ranigan. Ranigan's jump shot fought off by Fiorito. ESPN News coverage of college lacrosse continuing from right here on Wednesday night. Manhattan and the Blue Jays will square off. It's Old Spice College Lacrosse on ESPNU, Wednesday, 7 Eastern. Stephen Boyle led the way for Johns Hopkins last year against Manhattan. 6 goals and 2 assists. Greeley turns and fires, stopped by Fiorito. And Long Ellis will clear.
That was a great chance. I don't know why Greeley did it just one time that with his left hand. I don't think he knew where he was or something. That was a great scoring chance.
Fiorito then throws a strike, Jamie, right to Sonnenfeld, barging in, and he bounced it wide. A lengthy pass from Fiorito to Sonnenfeld that would have made Jesse Schwartzman proud.
It would have. Looked for Hopkins to double here again off the end line.
Which they do. The net is empty. Schreiber and Chris McBride backing away from the pressure. 3:50 left. The deficit is 5 for Johns Hopkins.
You've got to pressure on the adjacents if you're going to be double teaming.
Tigers hoping for a hold there against Larkin's defender. Bassett, the goalie, out there to double. Along with Leitner, dangerously close to the end line. Larkin playing keep away, showing off his talents. Grossman's tripped, and there's the flag. Johns Hopkins will be a man down.
Two men down actually here. First one on Bassett, with just kind of got overzealous and got a hold up on his neck. And the second one by Greeley, just unlucky, feet got tangled up, pushed him from behind. So Hopkins going to be 2 men down here, bringing in backup goalie Burke out of the Bullish School in the DC area.
Stephen Burke, 21-year-old junior, the understudy for Pierce Bassett. Bassett knew it was his job coming into this 2011 season. Burke has played 14 minutes in relief so far this year. Hopkins a mark of 3-0. Princeton lost its opener at Hofstra, looking to make amends today.
I tell you, it's very tough as a backup goalie to come in this situation cold, off the bench, no warm-up, down 2. Tough situation for Steven right here.
Sonnenfeld thought about it. Schreiber is straight away. Tigers in no hurry. 2 men up for 5 more seconds. Moni sightseeing on the outside as Delente sprints back into D. It's Sonnenfeld. Schreiber has 4 on the afternoon. Huge game for the freshman.
The Princeton Tigers grew up today. They came out hot. They started playing inconsistently, and then as this game wore on, they started to play very smart, defensively, offensively, and in transition. This is a big stepping stone for them heading into the rest of the season.
Last year for Princeton in this matchup at M&T Bank, it was another freshman then, Jeff Procaro, who scored 4 times, 3 in the second half. The Tigers 2 minutes away from celebrating in earnest. Double team against Larkin. He slips it, bounces one towards the empty cage, and then Stephen Burke will take it. Burke coming on for the penalized Pierce Bassett. Sends it on out to Gavin Crisafulli. Crisafulli will bring it along. 1:40 left as Johns Hopkins gets the timeout. Back for this one's conclusion in just a few moments from here at Homewood. 8-3 Princeton.
Quest for this year's SEC title will continue. The conference's best face off for an automatic chance to dance. The SEC Women's Semifinals today at 4 and 6:30 on ESPNU, the home court of championship week.
Old Spice College Lacrosse has been brought to you by Old Spice Matterhorn. Become one of the freshest smelling places on earth. And in part by Sector Spiders ETFs. Visit them on the web at sectorspiders.com. Here in Baltimore, Old Spice College Lacrosse continues with Princeton on top of Johns Hopkins 8-3. That's not going to spoil the happiness of the band. Enjoying the day.
Yeah! Never really does here, Joe.
Jesse Schwartzman, Jamie Monroe joining me, Joe Beninati. Lacrosse headlines from around the land. Penn knocking off Duke.
Well, I think people expected Penn to be better and Duke to be a little worse than last year. And actually, I talked to a couple of the guys from Inside Lacrosse last night, and Terry Foy, John Gelati, those guys actually picked that game. One of them did. So we're back on.
Starting strong, and then, of course, the Face-Off Classic to come. March 12th on ESPNU, Syracuse, Georgetown, Cornell, and Virginia. Syracuse and Georgetown a season ago at Carrier Dome. It was 15-12 for the Orange. Stephen Keogh and Josh Amadon with terrific performances in that one. Today, Tyler Fiorito has been the man in goal for Princeton, and Jesse, big goalies, both of them at either end today. Do you see that as a trend around the nation?
Not sure so much of a trend, but I think as a bigger goalie, you cover up more of the goal and you give the shooter less net to see. So right off the bat, I think it's tougher for him. As we saw last night in the Virginia-Syracuse game, 2 smaller and quicker goalies.
Procaro lost the handle. Blue Jays get another whack offensively. Bolin fires. That's deflected by Wiedmeyer.
Johns
70
Hopkins
seconds left.
got it back on the 10-man ride again. It's like full court pressure in basketball with a zone sort of concept, and can't buy a goal.
Wharton with a scorcher, missed the target. Kyle Wharton with 2 of Johns Hopkins' 3.
I gotta be honest, I would not want to be standing in the goal when Kyle Wharton has a little bit of time to wind up. I mean, did he ever hit you hard where it just flat out like really hurt?
You know, I was gone before he came, so thank God I was out of here.
Feed from Coppersmith is too tall. I'm sure a man named Rabel put a few welts on you, though.
Yeah, guy named Rabel, guy named Pizer, Byrne. There were many welts to be had.
Huntley.
I'm trying to teach my goalies over at Denver East and Denver just to be courageous and stay in front of the ball.
Jesse Schwartzman, the high school coach. Cliff Larkin on the run. Princeton Tigers, an 8-3 lead with a half minute to go. Princeton asking for time. Plenty of lacrosse action for you as the spring unfolds on ESPNU. Guys, have a look at the schedule. There are a few beauties there.
Well, looking at the North Carolina-Princeton game, I mean, Carolina's kind of in the same boat that I felt like Princeton was in today. Really got to get a signature win, got to get some things done to get themselves back into the top 10. And as far as Cornell, Virginia, new look Cornell staff, you know, what a great matchup that's going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And I mean, you got Rob Pennell, who's arguably the best attackman in the country, going against that senior goalie in Gittleman, and Shamel Bratton is just quite a midfield threat.
I think Hopkins is going to continue to get better. I mean, obviously, they've got to be pretty frustrated and disappointed in their performance today, but I really felt like they got robbed a little bit. Their defense played pretty well. I mean, they've you know, when you hold a team to 8 goals, you feel like you've probably played pretty good defense. They got robbed a little bit by Fiorito, and then I feel like their nerves kicked in, and they just had some really unfortunate sort of bad decisions that really hurt them.
Yeah, some timely caught turnovers.
Johns Hopkins a season ago, 7-8, finished ranked 11th in the polls. You see, from 2007 through 2010, the win total declining. Very young team. Under Dave Petramala's direction, they get Manhattan next. It's a Blue Jays program that's advanced to the NCAA tournament 39 straight years.
It's almost good that Manhattan game's coming in so soon, so get their minds off this game and just move on. You're not going to win or lose a season in one game, so got to take the positives from every game. Just learn from your mistakes.
Enjoying a homestand are the Blue Jays. Chris Bates' Tigers, soon to celebrate their first win in 2011. Princeton will get set for its matchup with North Carolina. They host Villanova a week later before they open their Ivy League campaign at Penn. And Penn, as we just showed you, already with a gigantic win on their ledger.
Well, and you've got a very balanced Ivy League in general. Everybody would probably pick Princeton and Cornell as having the best talent. But Brown is playing well. Penn, big wins. Harvard, I guess it looks like they may have lost today to Hofstra as they were down 9-5 at half.
Princeton Tigers celebrate an